Morning everyone, and welcome to the channel once again. Firstly, a big thank you to all of you who viewed the recent review on the NC750X. It's much appreciated. Really appreciate all the likes, especially the subs and the comments. It really helps me grow the channel, so thanks very much indeed for that. There are more in-depth reviews coming. I've got a CB500X coming soon, so stay tuned for that. And also we're going to be doing a few more updates obviously on the MZ if you are waiting for an update on those. But I just wanted to do a quick video today on something that keeps coming up about these NC bikes from the 700 through to the 750, and that's a lot of comments that people say, oh yes, it's half a car engine rather, and then other people who say no, that's all just a myth and it's nothing to do with the car engine whatsoever. So quick video today, let's dig into it and see what's fact, what's fiction, and where this all may have started from. Let's go. Okay, so almost any review you read of the NC700 or the 750 will attract comments like, ah yes, that's half a car engine. And almost immediately you'll then get further comments that say, no, it's a complete myth based on a joke made by the head engineer at the original press launch back in 2012. So which is true? Well, in truth, neither's completely true. The sadly missed Kevin Ash wrote a great piece on what really happened, and I put a link to his article, which is still up in the description below. And at the press launch, the lead project engineer laughed and he said, I got a hacksaw and I cut a Jazz or a Fit engine in half, and it really didn't run very well, so he had to put some more work into the NC750X. Now, obviously it was said tongue-in-cheek, but it kind of started this whole rumour off that it's a car engine, and half a car engine rather. And then, of course, that led to the other sort of myth, if you like, where people said, no, he's only joking. There's nothing at all to do with a car engine in this engine. But the engine designer himself says that they had meetings with engineers from Honda's car division once or twice a month for 2 years during the design process. And the first time this had happened at Honda. The reality is there are some striking similarities in the design architecture of the two engines and their performance, although there's a key difference in the character which is surprising, and stay tuned for a little bit more on that. So what are the similarities? Well, the obvious one is the bore and stroke. If you look at the original NC700 and compare it to the 1339cc version of the Honda Jazz, or Fit engine as it was called in some markets, you'll notice that the 670cc of the bike engine is exactly half that of the car engine, give or take 1cc. Dig a little deeper and you'll notice that the undersquare bore and stroke of 73mm by 80mm is identical in both. As a general rule, engines built for high RPM power have a piston diameter that's larger than the stroke. The more sporty the engine, the more marked the difference will be. Conversely, if engineers are chasing fuel economy over power, the engine will often be undersquare, where the bore is actually smaller than the stroke. And this tends to help low to mid-range power and improve the economy at the expense of peak power. It sounds rather familiar, doesn't it? So what else is the same? Well, if you look at the valve gear, it looks very, very similar. The roller rocker arms and the clearance or lash adjusters look near identical, even down to the casting marks, and the cam chain does appear to have been swapped to the other end of the camshaft, but it looks very, very similar. Further down through the engine, the pistons are slightly different, probably to deliver the different compression ratios. The bike runs 10.7 to 1, the car 10.5 to 1. And then it gets really interesting, because not only do the conrods in the two engines look the same, they actually are the same and have exactly the same part number, as do the big end shells, the piston or gudgeon pin, and even the piston rings are identical in both engines. That of course means that the small and big end bearings are also the same size in both engines. Getting to the bottom end of the engine, it does start to look a little different. The bike uses a 270-degree crank, as we all know, and because of that looks nothing like the traditional design of the crank in the car engine. Looking further afield, the ancillary components, the water pump, the clutch, the starter, etc. These have all, of course, been designed differently for both installations. As you'd expect, it's completely different on the car and the bike. So where does this leave us? Well, Is the NC700 engine really just half a car engine, as the original myth says? Well, clearly not. But then no one at Honda ever suggested that it was in reality. Equally, is it true to say that there's absolutely no connection at all between the two engines and it's all a myth? Well, no, that's clearly not the case either, because some parts are identical in both engines. What's clear to me at least is that Honda took the decision to develop the bike as an extremely efficient and economical bike, and not unreasonably decided to borrow much of the design from one of their existing car engines. Not only did this give them a reliable, tough and economical engine, but it also cut down the development costs considerably, allowing a lower price point to be achieved on the final product. So what about that key difference I mentioned earlier on? Well, having owned both the Jazz and the NC, the engines are very different in character, which is surprising. We all know the NC pulls really well at low and medium revs, and then it runs out of puff, yet in the car it feels the complete opposite. Very short low down torque, but surprisingly rapid when you wind it up at higher revs. If anyone can explain that one to me, please let us all know in the comment section below. I hope it's been of interest, guys. It was just a bit of a recap and to answer some of the questions or the discussion that was being had on the original NC750X deep dive video. Hope it's been of interest. As I say, there's more on the MZ project coming soon. That's turning into a bit of a challenge. And also, as I said right at the beginning, there's a deep dive review coming on the CB500X in the next few weeks, and how it might compare with the NC if you're looking for that commuter bike. Okay guys, thanks again for watching, take care and I'll see you on the next one.